Hi submarine friends, welcome back to watching me build my diesel submarine. So yesterday I had a little tragic event happen in my shop, which really is quite tragic to me. My MIG welder died, circuit board went, something went, AI says I need a new circuit board. So I'm welderless. My small welder, I fixed it months ago. I put a new rheostat, or not a rheostat, a rectifier in it. So I thought, okay, well, big welder burnt out, I'll just switch back to the little welder. Well, the little welder is not fixed. The rectifier did not fix it. It did need a rectifier because the old one was burnt, you could see it. But in addition to the rectifier, apparently the circuit board is also blown. So I had to order a new welder, and I've given up on these expensive Miller welders, and I'm just going to start using cheap welders because there's not much welding left for me in my inventing career, so to speak. So one of those welders will be just fine. They're highly rated, I must say. The ratings are fantastic. So Friday I get my new welder. So this is all I got done. I got the first one made. Shaft is in. You can see it's a nice fit. I'm using chrome shafting from a hydraulic cylinder because it's super strong shafting, and it's free. I just take an old bent hydraulic cylinder and I chop out what I need. So I have two fully welded up, one with the pin machined, and the other two, are cut out and ready to weld up. It's actually quite a bit of work. This part of the roller right here, I just take old hull sections. So when this tank was bigger, I've got leftover metal. So but it's curved. So all I do is I cut out the disc, I put it in my 50-ton press, give it a little push, and now it's a flat plate. It's cheap. I mean, I have the steel. Why not use it? I just have to straighten it. No big deal. I mean, all these rings, these reinforcing rings, I bent them all on my 50-ton press. So in the comments, a couple of guys, my friend Chris and one other person, made some very, very good points, and that's what I want to address right now. And the first point is, why aren't I putting the rollers on the trailer? Well, if the rollers are on the trailer, that would work perfectly fine. But I increase the weight of the trailer. For one, the rollers have to be wider because they have to go right across the keel, and the rollers have to be heavier, and I would have to have a guide system. So when I pull the submarine onto the trailer, it has to line up to the rollers. Otherwise, the rollers would have to be the width of the trailer, and that would be a massive roller. So the weight. Well, you're thinking, well, who cares if the weight is on the submarine or if the weight's on the trailer? Well, it makes a huge difference because the submarine needs to weigh, let's say, 9,400 pounds to submerge. The submarine does not care if the weight is rollers or ballast. So if I put these on the submarine, I simply remove this amount of weight out of the submarine ballast. So the submarine doesn't change weight. It's still the same weight. Rolling down the highway, it's the same weight. I just remove ballast to compensate for these. If I put it on the trailer, so if these are probably 20 pounds a piece, that's 80 pounds plus whatever, if I only use these. So I would estimate probably adding 400 or 500 pounds with a guide system and all that on the trailer. So weight is a huge issue for me. So this is the most logical way to do it. Now, there is another point that you guys made, which is a very valid entanglement. Well, my plan is, let's say the roller is mounted like that, the keel is right here. So this shaft is welded to the side of the keel, and then the hull goes around like this. So I'm going to put a fender over it. So just like so, it'll be nice and snug to the roller, might even rub, doesn't matter. And I'll just make a 14 gauge fender so that nothing can go in between the keel and the roller. So the threat is an anchor line or anything like that could slip in here. If it's in there, then you're screwed. So very valid point. But with the fender here, you know, let's say this is the rope, all it's going to do is sit on top, right? And it would just slide off the side. Because what will happen is the sub will try to surface, and if it's restricted, the sub will tip. And when it tips, this will just slide right off. So, yes, there is an increased potential for entanglement, but for where I'm going, the lake I'm going to begin with, there's no entanglement issues. That lake, we've side scan sonared it, we have dove it. I've dove submarines in that lake lots, and it's just a beautiful, it's like a desert bottom, grass growing on the bottom. It's really nice. The thing to look at in that lake is the cliffs, and we're actually looking for a legendary cave in those cliffs, but that's another story. So with no welder, this has to wait, so it's going to wait. So I'm just going to switch over to installing my new camera system. So I was thinking about this last night. I may just mount this little camera to a magnet. I have some spare magnets, I believe, probably even in here. And this way, I could just stick it to the inside of the door, and I can decide where the ultimate spot for it to be is. Because I don't know. When I start using the submarine, I might go, oh geez, I wish it was pointing over there or over there. So if it's on a magnet, it can go anywhere it wants. So that's perfect. And then this thing here, I don't know how I'm going to mount it or where I'm going to mount it. That again is one of those, when you start to use it, it'll make sense. It just needs to be somewhere where I can just constantly glance at it. Like when you're driving down the highway, you know, you're just glancing. So about the weight of the submarine. So this is a real problem for me, but luckily because I can dive in this lake, I have time to resolve the issue with weight. So I can't tow this submarine the way it is with my crane truck, because my crane truck has air brakes, and I can't tow more than 10,000 pounds with an air brake truck on a trailer with electric brakes, because I don't have a class 1 driver's license. Even with a heavy endorsement, I cannot tow this with an air brake truck. So my 1-ton truck is an older truck. It's a 1994, which I love. I wouldn't trade it for a newer one anytime, because I can fix it. It's a fantastic, strong truck with low miles. It's a great truck. It's ugly, but it's great. So it's really taxed towing this thing on the trailer. It's 11,500 pounds, I think. I don't know. I hope to have time today to weigh the submarine, and then I'll know. But I've got lots of time to figure it out. I'm just trying to avoid buying another truck. I have found an International that's pretty good. Old, I like that. Mechanical engine, I like that. But it's going to cost me $10,000. I just tired of spending. I need a break from spending. So I want to go diving, and let's see what happens before I spend another whole bunch of money. So I do have a plan. This is a fallback emergency plan. Let's say I just can't bring myself to spending another $10,000 on this project. Oh, I almost hate to say it, but I can make the submarine light enough that my 1-ton can tow it legally. No issues, no problems. Boom, done. And that is to shorten the submarine. I know it's drastic. But if I shorten the front of the submarine by 20 inches, something like that. You see, the problem is I don't know the weight yet. So if it's 20 inches, I can remove that from the length of the hull, which reduces the buoyancy, which reduces the weight it needs to be to sink. So that would save me 1,400 pounds, which would put me spot on 10,000 pounds of load for the truck, which you can legally do, no problem. I can tow more. I can tow, I think 11,500, but then I have to buy another trailer. You know, a trailer is almost 10,000 bucks. So, but because it has to be a gooseneck trailer. So a bumper pull trailer, I can pull it 10,000 pounds. Gooseneck trailer, it's 11.5, might even be 12, I don't know. But to be legal, I have to use a gooseneck trailer, a low profile gooseneck trailer. And, you know, in Canada, a good, like, I don't want to be running around with junk. It's going to cost me 10 grand. So how do you want to spend your 10 grand is what it comes down to. Either I'll buy a truck, I'll buy a trailer, or shorten the submarine. Shortening the submarine is a weekend job and $100 in wire and gas. So that's my choice. But I don't want to jump into that because I may feel inspired to spend that next 10,000 bucks. Let's just see. If I shorten the submarine, it doesn't really impact anything because this thing is huge. Like, it'll still function perfectly fine. I can still sleep in here. I can still live in here. I can still do everything I want to do. I just don't have that huge space up front, which really I don't need. It's just nice to have. So that's my story and I'm sticking to it. Anyways, excuse me, I better get back to getting this all done so when my welder shows up, I can just crack on and get that done. Ciao.